Well, hello everyone, and welcome to LEMD's live educational series. We are thrilled to have you join us. At LEMD, we're redefining telehealth by creating a space for meaningful conversation, science-driven insight, and guided support that empowers you to take charge of your health and longevity. Today, we're live with Dr. Jason Pencek, a board-certified nurse practitioner and chiropractor known for blending traditional and integrative approaches to deliver truly whole person care. Dr. Pencek's journey began in nursing, later expanding into chiropractic medicine, peptide therapy, hormone optimization, and longevity-focused treatments. I mean, he is a celebrity online. Here at AFRM, he is a celebrity with more than a decade of experience and a deep clinical focus on GLP-1 therapies. His work centers on helping patients improve metabolic health, achieve sustainable weight loss, and build stronger foundations for long-term wellness. Jason, thank you so much. And we're live. This is the first time we've done this. This is
Together.
super duper exciting for us to be here and I get
Yep.
to chat with you on a couch. I mean, this
You're
is
lucky.
amazing. So, as you all know, we just launched Methylene Blue, and today's conversation is going to be centered around Methylene Blue, and we're going to answer some questions. But we talked briefly before the recording started about how methylene blue was discovered, and it was over 150 years ago. Let's give some background on that, and then tell us what is it and why is it being studied for all of its longevity benefits and so forth. So let's get started. Tell us a little background on methylene blue.
Methylene blue. So methylene blue was discovered many, many years ago. It's a dye. Just so you know, it's a dye. It's been used as a dye for many, many years. It's originally was used for, and I don't know what person thought it was a great idea to start giving to patients, but for some reason we thought, hey, you're so sick, this virus is so bad, we're going to try this methylene blue because it worked on viral infections. It's also an antimicrobial, it's an antibiotic. And they decided this was useful for malaria, was one of the things they used it for back in the day. And I just kind of stuck around. All of a sudden, they found more uses for it. It's one of the few drugs that's been around so long. It's one of the few first drugs made, really.
Yeah,
And
for synthetic drug.
first synthetic drug was the
Yeah.
big one. And so they found this blue dye, and I still don't understand who decided to give it to the first patient. How it even happened, I don't understand how it went from a dye to this. So, I mean, for anyone out there who doesn't understand, it's what we're talking about is methylene blue, which is basically a redox molecule that's going to work. It's the thiazine dye is what it is. So what it exists in two different states in the body. It comes as methylene blue, which is the oxidized state, and then it goes into become leukomethylene blue, which is the reduced state of it. So this stuff doesn't really matter for most people out there, but just so you know, the whole reason methylene blue works the way it does, especially the mitochondria, which is what we care about, is that it is a redox mechanism, basically transfers electrons from one place to another. What this really means is that it allows your body to make better energy. That's ultimately
right.
what it does.
We're going to get to that because
Yeah.
a lot of people have been asking, how is it different from NAD and is it the same as NAD? Can I take both? So we're going to get there. But before we go there, let's talk about what it's prescribed for. It is FDA approved for a certain blood condition or even malaria. I think they give it to still to certain patients with malaria. I don't,
For sure. Not, but it's
but we
not,
can,
not used for that as much. But
in clinical
Yeah.
settings at much higher doses, it's FDA approved,
right. The big thing it's used for is methylglobulin, which is basically
I love that you could pronounce it, by the way. I tried.
which is
Methyl
basically,
blah, blah.
which is basically a blood condition that you can't get the oxygen off the red blood cell. So you can't utilize oxygen, which if you can't get oxygen into the system, you die. So this is the only thing you can do. And if you don't have this, you actually die. But the dosages are incredibly high. LEMD is using 10 milligram dosages. We're talking about dosages of, 100 plus milligrams. It's typically a 2
Right,
milligram
300.
per kilogram, body weight. So like that's between 200, 300 milligrams. And this is IV. So again, think of oral. Most of the oral products we have in general just are not nearly as bioavailable. We can't get them into our body as easily. When you give IV, you're getting super high dose and it's all bioavailable, about 97 to 98% bioavailable.
So you go to the hospital and there's this blue bag and they
Blue bag, yeah.
and they
just give you blue. And I've used blue, we use methylene blue in practice IV, but we're still doing, again, low dose. There is just more risk with using higher dose, which is why Ellie has done the smart thing and do a lower dose of it, which again, the real thing is the higher dose is specifically for this. If you don't have this condition, it's not really going to improve you that much. You're going to have more things go wrong than go right, which is why the low dose makes more sense from the, memory standpoint, the energy standpoint is what know what you want to use it for mostly.
That's right. So we have it at much lower. So then all of a sudden scientists start studying it for its longevity benefits.
Yeah.
Another accident, which is amazing. That's what science is. It's just
Yeah.
a lot of
Bunch of accidents.
accidents.
Yeah.
So talk to us about some of the health benefits of
Yeah.
methylene blue when it comes to longevity and wellness. And by the way, this one doesn't need to be injected. It can be taken as a capsule and a pill because it bypasses the liver,
Yeah,
from
it's
what I
fine.
understand.
Yep.
But
Yep.
yeah, talk to us about all of the longevity benefits.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about the IV is, so I don't use the IV in my practice at all unless I have a serious infection, and that's when I want to go a higher dose. That's the only time I'll use an IV. The oral works supremely well. You don't have to take it by that. So when I'm going a high dose, it's more than I want to give orally for a patient. They come in, they have an infection. That's when I use IV. So realistically, I'm never touching the IV. It's super rare. The oral does a really good job at helping improve energy outputs. That's one thing, works on energy. It also works on your mood. It works on skin improvements. It's going to work on your brain. It's going to protect you against Alzheimer's. It's also going to be an antiviral and an antibacterial. So there's just a whole bunch of things that it's going to work on. The biggest thing people typically get out of it is better brain function, better energy, and then better mood. Like the most common things people see out of this. So like that's like kind of the main things. If someone's like, well, my energy's not so great, methylene blue's a super easy thing to try. Hey, we take this pill daily and it sees if it improves your energy. Someone asked me yesterday, how does it compare to NAD? And I said, well, they both work similarly to raise NAD levels, but they work differently. When we give NAD to a patient, we're raising the like extracellular, we're giving like exogenous NAD. We're raising your NAD by just giving you NAD. The way this works, it is basically recycling your NADH, which is the form that NAD turns into, and it's turning this in the body. You go from NAD to NADH to NAD to NADH. It just goes back and forth. The same molecule goes back and forth. It's taking an electron off and then back on. That's all that keeps happening. It's basically oxidizing and reducing. So for anyone out there, all you have to know is the NAD, you make a lot of it, and it goes back and forth between NAD and NADH. What methylene blue does is allows this NADH to go back into NAD. So it does actually raise the amount of NAD there, but it does it by just reusing the NAD that you have.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just recycling the NAD you have. So you have two ways, which is why NAD is still so great, because not only can you take extra NAD, but now you can take the NAD that you put in the system that's turned back to NADH, and you can turn it back to NAD. So now you have a way to recycle the NAD that you have and give yourself extra NAD. So now you're basically double teaming this whole like NAD, NADH.
System.
Yeah, so the system's going to get more NAD. Now, this is the thing we have to understand is NAD is one of the last, it's the last cofactor, it's the last thing we need in our body to turn to ATP. You need NAD to make ATP. Basically, think energy. To make energy, you need this last piece called NAD. So NAD isn't exactly straight energy. NAD is the last thing you need to make energy. And if you don't have enough NAD, you can't make energy. It's a bottleneck. It gets stuck if you don't have enough of this. So what we're doing is increasing this amount of NAD as a pool. When you increase this pool, wait, now your body can make a ton of NAD. Your body determines how much ATP, how much energy it makes based on how much NAD is available. If there's not NAD available, you can't make energy, right?
That's right.
And this is, and I have to keep reminding everyone, like, this isn't energy like, oh my God, I'm up and ready to go. This is cell energy. This means everything in your body, like every cell, we're made of cells, is improving. So, right, so we see improvements. So, I mean, theoretically, you could say that.
Like how you said it, it's a bottleneck.
Bottleneck.
If you don't have the NAD, you can't create ATP.
Exactly, to make energy.
I mean, you still can make some ATP, but you can't make the rest of it as efficiently.
It's like an hourglass, right? You have an hourglass, you turn it over, and it's like it's slowly going down. What if all of a sudden you open an hourglass all the way up, it just dumps down, right? So that bottleneck, which just holds that. So you're still making energy, we're still making some. It's kind of
it's struggling essentially.
And then we open that up, and like all of a sudden that hourglass becomes a bigger hole. Right now the timer's going much faster. Now we're dropping it through.
That's right.
So I mean, NAD is such an important part to the body because it does make every piece of energy in body. So, why is your thyroid not functioning? You don't have enough energy. Why is my brain not working? Not enough energy. Why is my hair not growing? Not enough energy. Every cell in your body needs this to survive. So NAD is ubiquitous. It's something that we need to survive. And if we run out of NAD, we would no longer live. There are drugs that prevent this from happening.
So this is just one of the benefits of methylene blue. It helps with more energy and NAD production or transporting that electron over. That's just one of it. But now let's talk about all of its other benefits, right? The antimicrobial, like you said, and So how does it help? I mean, like a lot of people who start this, day one, they notice improved focus. For me, that's what I notice. I mean, I've had ADHD my entire life. I stopped taking stimulants because of how it made me feel. I don't like how I feel.
Yep.
So I've managed my ADHD through, my in my own way.
Yep.
However, this gave me that focus that I wanted, that steady focus without feeling jittery and
Yep.
anxious and all the other side effects. How does that work?
Yeah. So you have to remember that
Mm.
when you give someone a stimulant, they're gonna they're gonna be on edge, right? When you give Adderall or Vyvanse or any of these
Because it's
stimulants,
working on dopamine,
yeah, it's
right?
working on dopamine. So even caffeine, it's gonna work on you can get you a little stimulated. There is no stimulation effect from taking NAD or if you're taking methylene blue. Methylene blue is going to help improve the brain function because it improves cerebral oxygenation. So there's more oxygen in your brain to use it. It's also going to work on long-term memories. They found that actually it works on improving long-term memories. So you have an ability to take your short-term memories into long-term memories. So now you have better long-term memory going on using methylene blue. And finally, increases something called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. BDNF is what we need to make more neuron connections. So every time we form new memories, this is how it works, everyone. You use neurons to connect, right? It's like this connects to this, and I remember this now because this connection is to here, and that your brain is making these connections all the time. When brain-derived neurotropic factor is what is going to drive those connections. It's what helps grow these new connections. So if you're increasing BDNF, you're making more oxygenation. This is the thing we again have to remember is oxygen is what needs to make energy. The whole electron transport chain that we learn in, we learn in cell biology, we need oxygen to survive. We all understand we breathe, this is how we survive. If you have more oxygen at the brain level, guess what? Now you're able to have more energy there and be able to reduce the ability to form more memories and have the brain just function better. If there's more oxygenation, you can consume more oxygen. You can have just, again, more clearer thoughts. And this is not a stimulant because it's not hitting dopamine. It's not coming off as an upper. It's just coming off as a very clear, like I have more oxygen, I have more connections going on. And when I go to bed, I'm actually forming better long-term memories. So you're remembering things better, cognitive function. It's just cognitive function.
Is that why people report having better sleep?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's gonna improve your sleep overall too. Methylene blue is great. Methylene blue is
It's
I
just one
I
of
can't
those like one and
yeah,
done's you have to add to your stack. Is that
I can't say it's enough. I will say the caveat to this is the people that don't feel anything from because of methylene blue. Like, listen, the realest thing is, right, we have all these cool tools, right? And everyone that's you've been with LAMD has understood, right? Some people don't respond to GLP-1. Some people don't respond back to NAD. This doesn't work for everyone. And I think that's the thing I have to remind everyone. This is a super, super impressive molecule. One of the people that don't respond or don't do well with this is people that have really, really, really well functioning mitochondria already.
oh,
Because
interesting.
so this someone asked me, actually, someone from I think Ellie asked me yesterday, and they said, "Hey, methylene blue or NAD?" And I said, "Well, they work completely differently." Well, what do you mean? I was like, "Well, they both kind of help NAD, so I should just take NAD." No, it's a little bit different. Well, then I should take methylene blue.
You
No,
should take both.
take both. And if you take methylene blue and it doesn't do anything, it just means you're actually mitochondria working well. The way this works is there are 5 complexes in this thing called electron transport chain. This is how we make energy on a mitochondrial level at the cell level. These 5 pieces, this electron moves up and down and goes through, and it's this gradient. And this gradient is what allows you to have energy, right? So what we're trying to do is create energy by moving this electron up and down. There are 5 complexes, and this works on complex 1 and 3 and skips them. So if you have, this is what the bottleneck is. If you have a bottleneck at 1 and 3, typically it could be a toxic load, some kind of toxin is stopping you. Well, then if you take methylene blue, it takes the electron that should have gone through 1 or this complex 3 and just skips it and says, oh, I didn't go through here. I'm just gonna go right to this last complex and drop it off. I'm gonna go right to the NADH, drop it off and take the NADH, turn it to NAD, and now we have more NAD. And usually these complexes do that whole thing. But if your complex is blocked for whatever reason, then methylene blue just picks up and says, good, I'll take care of it. You can't do it complex 1, you can't do it complex 3, I'll do it.
I like that analogy.
So
Yeah.
what's really great here
Yeah.
is that these problems typically occur because it's some kind of toxic burden. Maybe you have mold. Maybe you have gotten COVID. Maybe you had a long viral infection. Maybe you've been exposed to some kind of chemical. Like there are lots of things in our life, in our world, we know toxins exist everywhere, right? The reason that women have more autoimmune disease in general is because nails, hair, makeup, right? There's more toxins you're being exposed to than
Oh,
most
yeah.
men. So in general, I would say, I'm not saying this is exact, but I would expect many more women probably get benefits from methylene blue than men. Now, there aren't studies to show this. I can't directly say this, but because the toxic load that women typically see from all the things you're doing, I mean, who's dealing with cleaning supplies, which are very toxic? It's usually the women. So in general, the toxic load women have would probably affect the mitochondria. When you affect the mitochondria, you're going to have issues getting enough energy there. So in women who typically have the fatigue than men, in my practice, I have men and women, and I see my women coming in with more fatigue than my men do. Maybe because men don't complain as much. I don't know. Men are just
We do more than you men. That's why.
I'm not saying that. You guys give birth. There's so much more you do. Okay. But I do notice my women seem to have, and it's autoimmune disease. So we notice these things. So I'm saying methylene blue would work probably a lot better. Not that it worked better in women, but women need it more than men because of this toxic load affecting complex 1 and complex 3. So again, now we can bypass this. We make more NAD at a cell level, and we're able to produce more energy. So again, yes, both NAD and giving methylene blue can both be useful. But the people that it doesn't work and they're like, it doesn't do anything for me, I don't see anything, it very much could be because your mitochondria are already working very well. This electron transport chain has no issues. And there's nothing going on. Your electron transport chain is perfect. That's good for you. That's not a bad sign for me. I will say, even I take methylene blue and it helps me. So I'm not taking this stuff just for the fun of it. I see some energy improvements, some brain improvements. So I'm like, well, my mitochondria have been working 100%. But also as you get older, the mitochondria don't work as well. So even as you get older, these complexes don't work and function as well as they did when you're younger. So even the aging process will make these happen. So it's not like the younger person, maybe in their 20s, takes methylene blue and says, it's really helping me, which I have a couple patients, a couple friends at 20s, and like, this has changed my life. I'm like, well, you probably have some mitochondrial damage. My patients in the 60s take it. I understand, I'm like, oh, well, you're in your 60s. It doesn't work as well. So you're a little bit older. It's going to improve your mitochondrial function. It's going to get rid of that bottleneck to make energy a little bit better because you're just older. So things don't work as well. So in my older patients, it's partly because the mitochondria don't work as well and there's just, more damage to them. In my younger patients, this is probably something actually going on underlying. So that's kind of how I look at it. I got off topic.
No, I've in my head, I'm like, I wish we had a whiteboard so we could just do the Krebs cycle and yeah.
We confused everyone, but it'd be fine.
This isn't for everyone. I mean, this sounds so amazing. I feel like, and it works in multiple ways. So it helps with energy production. It's also a great antioxidant.
We haven't told you the best part. You pee blue.
Oh yeah.
I forgot to say that. I forgot to say methylene blue, you pee blue. I don't know. It's a cool party trick. I think it's kind of funny. Maybe it's some guy when you pee and then leave and you're like, what? Your toilet's blue. I don't know what happened. I mean, it's a guy.
Can I tell you the first time this happened, I freaked out.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what it was. And I was like, I did not put one of those round rings in my toilet to, how your bathroom. And I was like, what happened? Maybe I didn't drink. Like, I don't know why it didn't click.
Like there's been times that pee, I'm like, what the heck? Oh, I took methylene blue. And I would tell you, here's the thing. If you pee methylene blue, you're excreting it the right way. If you're actually going to the bathroom number 2, you're pooping methylene blue, that's not good. What's happening is you're not actually absorbing enough of it, and it's being pushed out through your liver. Okay. So when you
it's working.
Yeah. So if you're peeing blue, it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Okay.
If you're going the other way out and it's blue, we're not absorbing it completely. It's not being broken down enough. That's kind of what I always tell patients. So if they see, depending on which way it comes out, it's like, oh, you're not really getting the full effects of it.
Okay, so it helps with energy production. It increases oxygenation in the brain, and it delivers more oxygen to different regions, different organs, which has its benefits too. So it's not just energy and transferring that electron, it also brings this oxygen to different regions.
Yes.
Which also helps with,
energy over everything.
Everything. It improves everything. That's amazing.
That's what we're working on. Yeah.
I love this. I'm sold. Okay. And then let's talk about the long-term. We talked about long-term memory, how it improves that. So within 6 to 8 months, a year, what can you notice? Like overall, but it also has skin health benefits. So let's talk about that.
You missed out on my MOAI, my monooxidase inhibitor A. So it's basically for mood disorders. So the one thing I want to say here, sorry, honey, I'm gonna cut you off. I like it because it helps improve people that have a little bit of depression and a little bit of anxiety. So you can improve the mood. It's a little bit of an upper. So it works as an MOAI.
I have noticed that.
Yeah. So you do feel
happier.
You are happier. This is true. So if you're looking for something, and again, this is why One of the contraindications is if you are on an SSRI, such as Prozac or Lexapro, Wellbutrin, and SNRI, any of these drugs that are going to be basically these happy drugs that we're taking, we do not want you to take methylene blue with it.
It's an overload.
I will tell you at the low dose, it's probably not a great thing to do, but I'm not as worried about my low dose patients. I still don't want anyone to do it. And I would say this, I had a patient that we gave methylene blue to. They were on an SSRI, a super high dose. Their doctor actually increased the dose, and I didn't know it, but I also had warned the patient. Now, I knew they were on an SSRI. I knew that it was contraindication, but the patient needed it badly. So this is when I waited clinically and said, hey, I think this patient's still going to need it. I didn't have the parents that I know that knew the dose of what they're doing, and then the doctor increased doubled the dose of what they had. So the patient ended up in the hospital because serotonin syndrome. So serotonin syndrome is very serious. It's a very serious condition. This patient stopped breathing a few times. In the ER was not good. The patient ended up being just fine, but 2 different times when I gave the IV, because again, the IV is much more bioavailable at a dosing much higher than Ellie's prescribing. I mean, we're talking about 10 times more than you're prescribing. This patient had a reaction. And again, this is why I always caution people, if you're on an SSRI, please don't take, it's not worth taking the risk. It's just not. And I will tell you, patients want to come off as an SSRI, and they do come off an SSRI, they're working with a doctor, they decide to come down. I still want to give patients a 4-week washout.
Right,
Before I
15 days, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, I give at least 4, just because again, I've seen it in practice. I'm like, I'm better safe than sorry. You can wait another couple days, but it will be some mood improvements. So patients want something else to improve their mood. Listen, it's not going to be as strong as Lexapro or Prozac. It's just not that strong, but it is a little bit elevation to the mood because it is this MOAI, which is the monoxidase inhibitor I. So anyway, the idea of the mood improvement is super great. Now, again, the skin is amazing too. I didn't want to miss that one.
We'll talk about that.
But the mood improvement to me was a very big one because again, I see a lot of patients, and what happens, seasonal depression, right? It's wintertime. Right now in Vegas, it's at least 50. Back in Chicago, where I'm at, it is snow on the ground and cold and dark and not great. A little bit of methylene blue does kind of elevate that mood just a little bit. So in the wintertime, I will use more methylene blue personally in the wintertime because I do see that little bit of mood effect from being on.
How soon can you feel the effects?
I would say, like, I pretty much any peptide I use, I always say 4 weeks. It might be a little bit sooner, but I always just say give it 4 weeks. Because
But with this, you notice immediately.
Methylene blues are pretty quick. Methylene blues are very, very quick. It's not like taking Prozac or Lexapro. It takes a few weeks to build up. You're seeing it really quick, but it does build in the system. So you do see that build happen, and you will feel better over time. The longer you take it, the better you feel. The longer you take it, the better brain health is. So, yeah, I mean, take it for as long as you want. I think, Ellie, how many days a week are you recommending them right now?
5 on, 2
2 off.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 and 2 off.
That's the recommendation I give patients.
And you could split that. So 3 days and then 1 day off,
But
2 days,
yeah.
1 day off. Like
You can take it like you take a testosterone and Nipramil. You get the same days, 5 on, 2 off, and just take it the same protocol that you're doing that.
Right, exactly. So let's talk about its skin health benefits.
Yes. So the sun damages our skin. If anyone is new to this, I'm going to tell you the sun damages your skin. Hope you all know that. It causes what's called reactive oxygen species. So basically, the sun is an oxidant, and this is where we take antioxidants. And people like blueberries, they're antioxidants. We take all these antioxidants, glutathione, antioxidant. Well, you can utilize methylene blue as an antioxidant and protect the skin and protect against that damage you get. So think of it as this is another antioxidant to help protect the skin, the same kind of way that you think of glutathione. So it's going to be weaker than glutathione, but it still has that same potential to help the skin and be an antioxidant, the same way in the skin that you would see glutathione help. In fact, this is actually part of the reason that I should say that glutathione does lighten your skin, and that big part of that's because this antioxidant effect that happens. Methylene blue won't lighten your skin. It's not.
It'll just turn it blue. Just kidding.
Turn it blue.
Just kidding.
So I think I have seen some.
I saw some brain samples.
They have shown, but that's high dose. You gotta remember, these people that are doing a lot of the biohacker community likes to go high dose. I have a clinic in Miami that I'm friends with, and the woman who works this clinic, her doctor was like, just give it all to me. I want the high dose. So he's not doing 10 milligrams. He's like, give me 200 milligrams, like IV. And she's like, there's no reason to. And he's like, I don't care. I'm the doctor. Just give it to me. She's the nurse. Okay, I'll give you what you want. So that dosing is absurd. That's the guy that's going to have blue organs, because you're just saturating the entire body full of methylene blue. Is it a worry that your organs turn blue? No, like it's absent. It's a dye. That's what happens. I'm not worried about the brain being blue. There's enough data showing it helps improve brain function to not have me be worried about, oh my gosh, is my brain getting blue when they decide to do an autopsy on me? Not worried.
It's like a fun fact. Otters have purple brains because of the sea urchins that they consume and eat. So when they dissect their brains, they're purple. It's a fun fact, and their bones too. You're gonna have blue ones. Um, uh, just just another let's go over who it's not for. Sorry, I
Oh
didn't mean to
yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
G6PD.
yeah, yeah. So
Let's talk about it. In certain subset of population, we have what's
yes.
called G6PD. Maybe you could touch on that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you just have to do some lab work. And it's not typically found in women, it's mostly found in men where both parents are from this region, Middle
Yes,
Eastern,
yeah, some
Mediterranean.
African, yeah, like African areas. So like there are some people. So we used to do a lot of G6PD testing in practice. I will say at the lower doses of using methylene blue, it is typically not a concern. 10 milligrams is the amount that LEMD is using right now, is not what I'd worry about G6PD. But G6PD, the reason we care about this G6PD is that G6PD can cause an issue with breaking down oxidative therapies. So if a therapy is oxidative, ozone therapy, high dose vitamin C therapy, methylene blue, these are oxidative kind of oxidative therapies at higher dosages. Again, lower dosages of vitamin C, antioxidant. Higher dosages, oxidative. Just like methylene blue, lower doses antioxidant, higher dose oxidative. It switches at some point. When you have a high enough dose, this G6PD becomes activated. You would cause what's called hemolytic anemia. So hemolytic anemia means you're just peeing out your red blood cells, not peeing them out. They're being destroyed. Your red blood cells are just breaking open and they're just splitting out everything.
Mhm.
The problem with this is you become anemic. So we look at blood work and all of a sudden you have full-blown anemia and we have no idea why. It's because you had hemolytic anemia and you basically lost a bunch of red blood cells. Now, you're not going to sit there and pee blood. You're not going to be peeing blue, right? There's no purple coming out of this. It's just going to be this blue urine. But if you did a super high dose of methylene blue and you had G6PD, this is the deficiency you had, you could lead to having the whole issue with anemia. Now, again, at the dosages you're using, incredibly safe. There is a population of people, and LMD is going to tell you who this is, who to watch out for. These people need to get lab work because you've had this deficiency. It could be a problem.
But you should know it anyways, because it also affects people if
For
you want to
sure.
take dapsone or certain
Yeah,
antibiotics.
yeah,
You
for sure.
should know it.
I mean, for sure. I mean, it could be useful for you at some point in your life if you ever had to do some kind of crazy therapy. It's not that it wouldn't be useful, but for this specifically, we just want to make sure to be safe. This is right. We're all about safety here at LAMD. We want to be as safe as humanly possible. So we're doing this out of an abundance of caution, not because we're worried about probably someone having this in some kind of major reaction. It's more we want to make sure everyone out there is safe. We don't want to get hemolytic anemia. We don't want you to all of a sudden be tired, fatigued. So what happens? Hemolytic anemia, you become exhausted, right? It's anemia. So now you're completely exhausted. You've been taking this methylene blue. I should have energy. And why am I exhausted now? 6 months, 3 months, 2 months away? Well, because you caused hemolytic anemia. So we don't want something bad to happen. So that's the entire reason we are testing is to just protect this population of people that might have this going on.
Yeah. And I've seen on Amazon, people are offering
Just because
bottles and vials of methylene blue. And I'm like, well, how are you properly dosing this when you're just taking a squirt of, first of all, it tastes like paint.
yeah.
I bought it. It's disgusting. I'm one of those people, my mouth was blue.
Okay, let me clarify why we shouldn't do this just real quick for anyone's sake, because Honey just said she bought online.
I try
But let me
everything.
let me
Okay.
say why we don't buy online. The
Yeah.
reason we use compounding pharmacies, especially for methylene blue. This is a big one. There's a lot of impurities, a lot of heavy metals on methylene blue. So when you go online, the stuff that doesn't get sold to the pharmacies, the reason why it's so cheap online is because it's not pure. So they take the stuff that's not pure, that's impurities, mainly heavy metals, and they sell it as like stuff for your fish tank to clean your fish tank. So unfortunately,
You don't want
because
that.
this stuff is not pure, you're getting heavy metal toxicity. So I've had patients, oh, it's so much cheaper online. Well, yeah, because there's impurities that might cause heavy metal damage. So this is again another reason I say compounding pharmacies using someone like LEMD to get this stuff from because you know it's safe. We were talking about 99.9% pure, and the stuff you might be online might be like 98% pure. What's the other 2%? Well, that could be heavy metals like arsenic or mercury or God knows what's in there. And then you have heavy metal poisoning because you were taking some kind of liquid. Also, secondarily, I much rather take the caps, not even for the taste, but your mouth turns blue. No one
And it
wants.
tastes disgusting. It's, oh,
I've
who
had
would even
patients.
take
I
that?
had a patient buy it from a company. They bought actually a compounding pharmacy. They made tablets, little troches. And so she put it in her mouth and she's like, and then the after effects was her mouth was blue. And she's like, it was a cool effect the first time, but she's like, I'm also a model. Like the first time it happened to me, I was like, I was on a shoot. And I go, I could shoot, and my mouth is blue. I'm like, what do I do now? My mouth is now blue.
And it
So
doesn't go
it
away.
doesn't go. No, it's a dye, guys. This is a dye. If it gets on your shirt, I have a shirt. I did a clinic opening a couple years ago, and we were just making colorful IVs, and I made methylene blue, and it got on my shirt. It is permanently blue. If this gets on you, again, this is why we don't want in droppers. This is why you don't want to do it with a troche, because if you do and it gets on your clothing, it is a permanent dye. It is not going away. They used to dye clothes with this stuff. Like it's not going to go away ever. So this is the reason I think the capsules are the best way to go. They really are the best, and compounding pharmacies, which is why LAMDs.
Well, I saw RFK putting it in his water,
Oh my
and I
God.
was like, oh, if he does it, let me
Okay.
do it. So I got it in. Oh my gosh, it tastes awful.
Yeah.
I did it once and I was like, it literally tastes like
I
paint
would
thinner.
recommend. I
It's
would not
gross.
recommend
So,
the morals of
but you also can't dose it right. And
no.
that's why you want to buy it
One
from,
drop, two drops, three drops. How much am
it
I doing? Am I
needs to
shaking it
be,
up?
is
Like,
it 50 milligrams you're taking? Is it 100? Like you have no clue when
yeah.
you're taking it out of a dropper. I mean, it's not dosed right. Whereas these are
What's
dosed
also not
properly.
standardized, right? If you get a
Right,
dropper like that, these whoever sent it to you, who knows what the dosing is, right? You don't
right,
even know if they're dosing the giving you is correct. I
right,
mean, there's plenty of
right.
supplements you can check, and the supplements
Exactly.
don't match what they say in the bottle.
That's
So
right.
this bottle could be 2 milligrams per drop, or it could be 50 milligrams per drop, and they might not know the dosing or have it wrong.
That's right. Well,
So
that's,
standardized dosing is the best way
we
to go.
find that to be a problem when people buy research grade
Exactly.
GLPs online. They don't know because this vial, even though it says, let's say 3 milligrams per milliliter, this vial could actually be 1 milligram
Yeah,
per
for sure.
milliliter in concentration, and this one could be. So you just
Yeah.
never really know. And there's a great website called Fineric that does like third-party testing, and they find that there's inconsistencies across the board.
And
But
inconsistencies
yeah,
within company. Like you
that's
might have
right.
this company it did really well for this one peptide, and this other one got a D rating. They rated, I think, A through I think D or F. And it's like this one had terrible. You're like, well, now I'm buying from five different companies to get the A quality of all the brands. And it's like, why can't I just go to the compounding pharmacy?
I
Just get
know.
one place, does everything.
And I
So
told you, I know the owner, he said, even the A grades that we give are actually
yeah, A grade is not
B's
not
and
great.
F's.
Yeah.
I want to get to some of the questions. So let's look. Let's answer this one. Can you take this if you have the
Yes.
MTHFR
Yes.
mutation?
Totally fine to still take. It's not going to affect
Okay.
the THFR. Won't play into that at all.
I have a question. Sorry, I'm going from bottom up. I have a question in regards to methylene blue and an individual who has RBC concerns, someone who's unable to produce or hold red blood cells. So yes, chronic anemia. From what you're saying, it's not for them.
No, that's not a problem. Chronic anemia is not a problem. Hemolytic anemia is much different than like iron deficiency anemia. So hemolytic anemia, most people that are listening to us that you probably have met do not have hemolytic. Hemolytic anemia is typically caused because this G6PD deficiency. It does not happen often. Like this is your blood cells are lysing. They're just breaking open. That's it. They're destroyed. Typical anemia is maybe you're missing a nutrient. You don't have enough nutrients to make the red blood cells. So this isn't a problem making red blood cells. This is a problem with you just destroying the ones you have.
Mm.
So no, if you have a anemia, it's not going to affect your anemia negatively. It's not going to do anything to your anemia. It's not going to help or hurt it realistically.
Carly missed it. Why is it blue? It's a
What?
thiazine dye. Good question.
But yeah, well,
It's a dye.
it's a dye.
But why is it blue? Like it's a pigment, right? How do
Pigment,
I?
yeah, it's just a dye. It's a color pigment. It's like I make clothes. They used to use it as a dye for, clothing and other things.
Can you take it if you have the MTHFR? So a lot of people are asking us.
Yeah.
All us Kentucky fans are down for the blue. Yeah, go Kentucky. I heard that if your mitochondria is damaged, that certain peptides will cause knuckle swelling and burning in the fingers. Can you speak on that?
That is a new one for me. Mitochondria damage. So here's the thing: if mitochondria are damaged, methylene blue is actually one of the things. Again, this is not. This is not. There are peptides. There is a peptide to fix mitochondria damage. It does exist, but methylene blue is not the fix. Methylene blue is just going to bypass complexes 1 and 3. It's just going to. It's like taking NAD. It's not like if I give you a shot of NAD, all of a sudden you have enough NAD for the rest of your life. You need to keep taking NAD because it keeps going down. So when these complexes aren't working, methylene blue is the only way to get past these complexes, past this bottleneck to make more mitochondria or to make more energy, ATP, sorry. But when you're talking about mitochondria being damaged, this is going to fix at least part of what might be stopping mitochondria from making as much energy. So I have a mitochondrial stack. It's the last part of my mitochondria stack. After I tried fixing mitochondria, then I've made more mitochondria. Then I'm going to do, if there's whatever's not fixed, if I haven't fixed everything, then methylene blue kicks in for me. And I'm like, oh, at least we can fix whatever's left. We can bypass the system and make sure we can still make energy.
Right.
So no, medical swelling, that's a new one for me. Can't say that. Can't say it's mitochondrial damage.
How does methylene blue compare to nootropics such as
Oh,
lion's
it's way better.
mane?
Much
Way
better than lion's mane.
better.
It definitely works better because again, it's going to increase your cerebral oxygenation. And again, it's going to work on creating more BDNF
This
more
is
than
a
you'd have
good
from
one.
lion's mane.
Is it okay for your liver and kidneys to process a blue dye?
It might turn them blue, but yes, you can.
Well, certain kidney disorders can't take this, right?
If
Certain.
you are in kidney disease and you aren't, listen, there's a lot of things. If you're in stage 3 or 4 kidney diseases, most things I would not give to patients. There's a lot of things I wouldn't give to patients at that point. It's only when I'm in, it's only patients that have GFRs typically above 60 that a lot of these therapies are okay for. And it really depends. For example, GLP-1s, if your kidneys are starting to fail, GLP-1s are great. They'll save your kidneys. Methylene blue is not going to save your kidneys. So I wouldn't give it to a patient that has kidney disease. Let's put it that way. Liver's fine too. Liver's fine to use it.
With SNRI, okay to take.
SNRI, no.
No.
SNRI and SSRIs are not going to be things you should take with
The questionnaire will really guide you too, and the doctors will also. This comes with your 1 year of unlimited doctor interaction. So, but the questionnaire will guide you basically. It'll disqualify you if it's not appropriate for you. Um, can you talk about adding red light to activate
This
it?
is true. Yeah, red light therapy does activate
Go,
methylene blue.
Tanya. I
So that
didn't know that. Good
good point.
job.
She's a real smart cookie over there. Yeah, methylene blue is activated by red light. So anyone out there that's doing red light therapy of any sort, using it at home, going to a clinic, methylene blue will make it better. Now, here's the thing. You want to take it before you go into the red light. So you're going to go in the red light, that'll activate it when you actually have it in your system. It's not you put the pill under the red light, it gets activated. You actually have to ingest it first and then go in the red light. And it does make it work better because cytochrome C works better. This is what red light therapy works on. Red light therapy works on cytochrome C. And the whole point of methylene blue is to skip complex 1, complex 2, and bring it to cytochrome C. So cytochrome C works better. And now you have methylene blue bring it to
Your
this.
supplement.
It just makes it all work even better.
lot more.
Exactly.
Oh,
That's how it works.
thank you for sharing that. Look, we're getting another one about MTFHR. So I guess there's a lot of misinformation out there. Question for later. I have a potential client who I thought would be excited about this, especially for a long COVID. But here was her response. A lot of people in my MTHFR group talk about it, say it's a huge no, crosses the brain barrier, and apparently not good for people who cannot detox, turns organs blue.
Well, it does turn organs blue. We know that. Yep. And it does cross the blood-brain barrier. It's one of the reasons why you have more cerebral blood flow. It is not, again, so methylene blue is going to increase.
Can you talk about MTFHR for a second?
So
for anyone who's not familiar with it.
So I've talked about this before with MTHFR and NAD. So I've said this before, NAD and MTHFR. Some patients don't do well with MTHFR, they have it. Now we have to first step back and say, just because you have the mutation for MTHFR doesn't mean you're expressing it. You're going to be expressing it. You typically see high homocysteine levels, B12 will be a lot higher. There's another one I look for that I can't think off the top of my head now. But when you're looking at this, my big marker is high homocysteine. When you see high homocysteine starting to go up, I don't even check for MTHFR. I don't do the gene mutation. I don't care about it because I'm looking at lab work. And when I see a high homocysteine, I'm automatically thinking, hey, you have the MTHFR gene mutation and it's turned on. Look, between 60 and 80% of the population has this mutation. Not everyone that has a mutation has it turned on. It can get turned on at any point in your life. Just so you know, once it's turned on, it's always on. There's no question. But it doesn't mean it's on at any given time. You may not have it being expressed. So if you have a mutation, it's not expressed. even if it's, if it's single or double, expression.
Assume you have it. So would
Assume
methylene
you have
blue,
it.
yeah.
Methylene blue would do what NAD does. So NAD, originally, when I first talked about NAD and tried to say, like there's some people that don't feel good when they take NAD. And it's because of a histamine response. Before that, I used to be like, oh, it's the MTHFR gene mutation. It doesn't detox very well, and you push the detox pathways really hard with NAD. So methylene blue could potentially, it's going to be less of a hit than taking NAD. So when I tell people that they're MTHFR gene mutation, they have high homocysteine, I'm still using methylene blue in them. I'm still using NAD in them unless they have it, because not everyone's going to detox the same way. I am not worried about using methylene blue in those patients if I see a high homocysteine, because I'm usually thinking, well, there's more benefit than not. They might feel not so great. Is the worst case scenario. I don't feel good. I'm a little more tired, a little more fatigued. I just don't feel good taking this. They can stop and it's done. But the benefits to me outweigh it when I'm saying, hey, there's going to be more energy. There's going to be, better brain function. We're killing bacteria. We're helping the skin. There's just so much more benefit that I see than negative, because you're only having the adverse reactions when you're taking methylene blue. So if you're taking methylene blue and if you do have a reaction, you're like, it did this to me, right? Whatever the situation might be. With methylene blue, I typically see people feeling really sick. They don't feel great. They feel like flu-like symptoms. Herxing is what I would say, Herxham reactions, which is where you just feel like flu-like, you don't feel good, you're tired, fatigue, it's not working well. Then you just stop. It's not having the intended purpose. But I don't prohibit my MTHFR patients from taking it. So if I have homocysteine that's high, and I'm assuming you have the MTHFR gene mutation, I'm still prescribing those people methylene blue, especially 10 milligrams, because it is such a low dose. And I do see patients having the benefit of being on it rather than not. Because ultimately, even if you have the NTHFR mutation, again, it might not be turned on. And secondarily, even my homocysteine patients are a little high. It depends on how well the detox pathways work. We don't have a way to study that. We don't have a way to be like, your pathways work really, really well, and yours, the NTHFR gene mutation, work terribly well, and this is not going to work.
Okay.
But I
So
do
it's an
recommend, if you're going to
experiment.
take this, B complex, B12 methylated, methylated folic acid, and trimethylglycine if you have any kind of NTHFR gene mutation.
Does anyone know if he has a podcast?
Not yet.
You got to
Hopefully soon.
start that. Is there sulfur in the product? No.
No.
Is there sulfur in the product? No. Wellbutrin is an
No.
NDRI and not an SSRI. You
Nope.
can't, you still a no.
Still raises anything raises serotonin. Wellbutrin's going to raise serotonin, so you still.
How well does it work if you don't take it every day, but only when you have certain big projects you're working on, when you want excellent focus? Oh, can you take
I
it
take it
just
that
as
way. I take it. That's how I
Okay.
take it. I take methylene blue kind of as needed.
Like a stimulant?
Yeah, not like without stimulant. Yeah. So
Without it being a stimulant.
I will say you get more effects as it builds. So you get a better response. It's like taking NAD regularly, you get a better response from taking it regularly, because it does have some build. But you can still take it a one-off and still see some improvement. You just wouldn't see as much improvement if you're not using it. Because again, it is helping form long-term memories, which again, utilizing that regularly would help form better overall cognitive function.
Yeah. Dr. Jason's amazing. I messaged him on Instagram.
Always respond.
Right. So I have a client who always gets nausea and stomach aches when she takes methylene blue. Is that common?
I'm
No.
curious where she gets it from.
That's a side effect, right? That is a nausea, a little bit of nausea.
Anything, look, any oral pill you give anyone, it's an adverse effect from any drug company that says this is an oral pill. So yeah, it's potentially possible. It's not a net direct effect.
Any contraindications with blood pressure meds? Not at this low
No,
dose, right?
not the dose we're using. Not at
Yeah.
all.
Can this be used instead of Prozac? Well, we can't give medical advice, but
I
it's
would,
for mental
I would
health.
not use it. Let's put it this way. I wouldn't have a patient stop. I'm that person taking someone off a SSRI and putting them on methylene blue. I will counsel them, say this is something to work with your psychiatrist or your NP or whoever you're working with. And if you want to try it, you can. But I would have them work with a psychiatrist first and then try it. I have had patients that use this in place of their SSRIs. I have seen it happen, but I'm not the one managing that. I'm saying you go back to your doctor. I'm not pulling you off this. I'm not responsible for that. But if you feel like you can do well with that and function, great, come off, give it 4 weeks, we'll go back and we'll try methylene blue. And again, it does improve mood. So some people will say it does make them feel good enough that it's as well, works as well as their SSRI. But I wouldn't use it for that regularly and tell people you can just come off your SSRI. Good luck with life. You just want to have them work with a practitioner and take them off if they decide to come off on their own for some reason.
How about type 1 diabetics with an A1C of 7.7?
We should have you on a GLP-1. Is that the question?
No.
No, I know, I'm kidding. What is GLP-1? Alex, what is GLP-1? This is Jeopardy. You can take it. You're fine. It's not gonna affect your blood sugar negatively.
What about someone who has thalassemia?
Thalassemia? It's not a major contraindication. Possibly relative, but not a major. I wouldn't say it's a major contraindication if you get
Again,
thalassemia.
guys, let your primary care doctors know. They have a lot more. They have your medical history, right? But also notify the doctors. Make sure when you're filling out your questionnaire, just put everything down. And if they see any contraindications, they'll let you know. But no,
No, you're fine.
that's
But good.
my
That
disclaimer.
thalassemia is another one of these blood disorders. And again, it's remember, it's only at the higher doses with G6PD that's going to affect the blood work in that specific way.
All right. So a lot of questions about why can't we take it with Zoloft, and we answered that. SSRIs. All right, let's see. I do love how Dr. Pencek always has the answer. That's Joey.
Thanks, Joey.
Would it benefit MCAS?
Not
Oh,
really. Not entirely. You're talking about histamine reaction here. The methylene blue is not going to work on histamine. There's no component that's going to fix your histamine issue. So I would say no, it wouldn't be a useful thing to try unless you want more energy and it's not related. If you have MCH, say yes, this basically histamine reaction overload. Some patients tell me they have bad energy. Their energy is not so great with that. So yeah, potentially might help your energy, but it's not going to actually directly work on this MCAS. Yes.
someone wrote, what is the dose at Elliott's? 10 milligrams. I have seen some companies do like 20, 25 milligrams 3 times a week. We thought it would be much better to have a steady dose 5 days a week at 10 milligrams.
So I do 25 myself. We go in my practice anywhere up to 100 milligrams. I've done 50 myself, and I do 50 daily. And it is a little irritant to the urethra at higher dosages, I personally found out. So it feels like I have to pee all the time. So
Interesting.
I do 50 milligrams or more. And my patients, it's just me. I mean, not every patient says that. The dosing you're using, not an issue. But I have personally found out at the higher dosages, it's a little irritant. I feel like I have to go to the bathroom again, go to the bathroom again. So I decided to,
stingy.
yeah. So I stopped using 50 milligrams daily. I went to 25 and it worked just fine.
I did read that back in the day. They used to use it for kidney infections, UTIs, and all sorts of things. It was like the cranberry juice back in the day.
It was great.
All right. Okay. One last question we'll take. I am a provider and have patients that have asked me these questions every day. Good to educate. Amazing. Okay, that was a compliment. That doesn't count. I'm on my second week taking NAD and my energy levels have really tanked. My energy was great with the testosterone, but now that I've added NAD, not so much. Why could this be happening? And is this a good supplement to the NAD?
It's a great one. If you're having issues with NAD, it could be the bottleneck issue here that we're having. You could potentially benefit from being on methylene blue. Actually, I would still try it in a patient. To me, I'm always thinking there's no adverse effect from it happening. So if you're taking methylene blue and it doesn't work for you, can you try it for a couple of days? It doesn't work. I'm not worried about that. I am more worried about contraindications. If something negative happen, if there's a major contraindication, I won't use it. If it's a contraindication doesn't exist, my NAD didn't make me feel great. Okay, let's try methylene blue instead. It works a little bit differently to create NAD. And maybe it's because you're taking exogenous NAD, and sometimes in people, this is the whole reason why NAD does what it does, it can cause a little bit of a histamine reaction. So maybe the adverse effects happening from the histamine reaction. It's a little bit of a reaction from that. NAD is found in the cells. It's found in the actual cell. When you inject NAD and we give it to people, what happens is it's found outside the cell, and your body immediately says, oh my gosh, what's going on? Why is NAD not in our cell? So you have a very quick histamine reaction. It's short-lived. Anyone's ever injected NAD, you can tell you, right? Yeah, I feel a little shortness of breath for a few minutes. Maybe I don't feel good for a few minutes, and then it goes away because that's a very quick response. When you're doing methylene blue, you're not having any of that happen. You're not having the same feeling you have with NAD. You're not feeling this shortness of breath. You're not feeling like, I don't feel good, something's wrong. So someone that's done NAD sub-Q or is using NAD, I would say is not probably going to react the same way to methylene blue because of the way the NAD is raised. is different than just giving exogenous NAD.
Mm.
And NAD is really great for you. I mean, we need more NAD to survive. So my guess, it was the sub-Q NAD causing it with a potential histamine reaction that you might be really sensitive to your system. And I think we would.
Okay, this is my question. I'm going to throw this one in there. I get the last question. Okay. You know how you recommend taking NAD prior to drinking as like an elixir to help the body detox? Would this be a good?
Yeah, would be correct. You could take methylene blue. I would take
So
it with
taking
NAD.
it before alcohol consumption
Sure.
or
It's going to work on detox pathways. It's going to improve your NAD levels. NAD improves detox overall in general.
okay, so this would work in the same
For
way.
sure.
Gotta make a video about that. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Yeah, I hope you got a lot of information. You feel comfortable and confident talking about methylene blue, and I hope you got a lot out of this. And thank you, Jason. I get to shake your hand this time.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
Appreciate it.
for doing this for us and our community. And you're just so amazing. We really, really appreciate you. I see everyone sharing your videos and
Good.
they're posting it. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being consistent for 4 straight years. And if you guys want to follow Jason, and he's going to make a video about this tonight, he'll probably post it tomorrow or sometime. Tonight you'll post it.
Video.
So where can they find you if?
Yeah, it's Dr. Dr. Jason, last name Pencek, Pencek. And
Brenda, can you
Instagram.
post it? Can you
And
post his Instagram?
My TikTok isn't used, but it is open. It's
I like when you tell us what your TikTok is. It's Dr.
Thirst Trap.
Dr. Thirst Trap.
TikTok. I don't post anymore. I'm going to start producing
Oh.
content and I'll start using that actually. So Dr. Thirst Trap will come back to life probably in the next year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank you so much. And
Appreciate
thank you guys for tuning in, for having that curiosity, that interest to tune in on a weekly basis and learn and educate and bring people to our community. Thank you for everything that you do. We love you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. See you all soon. Mwah. Have a good night, everyone. Take